The virtue of Duaa, supplication, and Thikr, remembrance. Learning objectives. I always found my mother to be successful in everything she does. She is successful in her home and in raising her children, successful in her work, and successful with her friends. All of them love her. So I asked her one day about the secret to her success, and she told me that the reason is Duaa. Duaa is when we ask Allah Almighty for the good we want. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Lord has proclaimed, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." The meaning of the noble verse is that Allah Almighty commands His servants to turn to Him alone to seek goodness and assistance from Him. He is the only one capable of providing all that His servants need. In fact, He is capable of providing everything that all of His creation needs. Allah Almighty said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah, the Sustainer, needed by all. This means that Allah is the Sustainer, the one to whom all the creation turn to fulfill their needs. He is the one and only Allah, capable of fulfilling the needs of all His creation, because He is the All-Powerful. Allah Almighty said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. When my servants ask you, O Prophet, about me, I am truly near. I respond to one's prayer when they call upon me, so let them respond with obedience to me. This means that Allah is close to all of His servants who raise their hands in Duaa, or supplication, seeking goodness for themselves and for others. For Duaa, my friends, there are times when its acceptance is stronger than others. One of these times is during the prostration in your prayers. That's why Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the closest that a slave comes to his Lord is when he is prostrating, so increase supplications in prostration. This means that prostration is the position where a Muslim is closest to Allah. That is why it's a preferable time for Muslims to practice Duaa, supplication, Allah for everything good, for themselves and for others. Allah Almighty is more generous than to reject the Duaa, supplication of His servants. Allah answers all Duaa. Another one of the best times for Duaa is to be answered, my students, is the end of the day on Friday, starting after the Asr call of prayer until the Maghrib call of prayer. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said in the Hadith, Friday is divided into 12 hours. Amongst them, there is an hour in which a Muslim does not ask Allah for anything, but he gives it to Him. So seek it in the last hour after the afternoon prayer. This Hadith means that the hour between the call to prayer of Asr and the call to prayer of Maghrib on Fridays, that Duaa is answered. It's a very blessed and special time. Likewise, among the time for Duaa to be answered, the blessed month of Ramadan. It's a great month in which Allah Almighty revealed the noble Quran. Allah Almighty said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed as a guide for humanity, with clear proofs of guidance and the standard to distinguish between right and wrong. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to make Duaa throughout the month of Ramadan consistently, during various times such as Fajr, while fasting, or at Iftar, while breaking the fast. He also made Duaa during Taraweeh prayers and Qiyam, which are the prayers at night before Fajr prayer. Because of the great importance of Ramadan, the Prophet, peace be upon him, practiced Duaa during all its blessed times. Likewise, among the time for Duaa to be answered is when it's raining outside. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, saw rain, he would always say, O Allah, bring beneficial rain clouds. Now, since we have talked about Duaa, let's talk about Dhikr, or remembrance. Remembrance, my friends, is the glorifying of Allah, the Almighty, and the mentioning Him in ways that He loves, in ways for which there are rewards. Allah Almighty commanded His servants to remember Him in the Holy Quran. Allah Almighty said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. O believers, always remember Allah often, and glorify Him morning and evening. This means that it's necessary for the believers in Allah to never abandon the remembrance of Allah, neither during the day nor during the evening. The absolute best remembrance is reciting the Noble Quran. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever recites a letter from the Book of Allah will be credited with a good deed, and a good deed gets a tenfold reward." Finally, it's important to know, my dear friends, that both dua and remembrance carry big rewards. Those who practice dua to Allah and remember Him a lot become closer to their Creator. This is because they are consistently turning to Allah, the Almighty, who is capable of all things. Those who remember Allah a lot will always feel reassured and peaceful. Allah Almighty said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Surely in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find comfort. We ask Allah the Almighty to make us among the people who remember Him, those who glorify Him morning and evening. In conclusion, my lovely friends, we have learned that dua or supplication is seeking assistance from Allah the Almighty and asking for goodness, whether it is for ourselves, for others, or for all of us. Thikr or remembrance is glorifying Allah the Almighty and mentioning Him in a way that He loves and for which there is a reward.